Hello everyone, and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host as always, Richard Tiemann. This is the award-winning fan show music division. That's right, for the first time ever we have an episode dedicated to one of the greatest things in life. That is right, the art of music. And joining me, what better fit for this debut edition of the music division than Gun Riot, and because they were playing at the Big Dipper tonight. Actually, the show's about to kick off in just a few minutes. Tonight at the Big Dipper Concert House, they're headlining, and guess who's sponsoring the show? Ethan of Dynamite Enterprises. I don't even need to give him a plug or a spot on the show because you're going to hear it straight from the man himself. Had a great sit down with all of these guys, the folks in EGR, Zach, Caitlin, Mike. Such a blast to catch up with them. It's been a hell of a year for him. You're going to hear all about that coming up. And then Ethan, what it's like to be not only in a band, but the man that I tell you about every week on the show, Dynamite Enterprises, and how much he can and wants to customize your world. If you have artwork or anything, a logo, a design, he can put that on pretty much anything, and we talk about that. So I won't spoil any more for you. Instead, we'll just go ahead. We will strap in and hold on as we get into this ride that is the debut edition of the music division. Enjoy our conversation with the folks from Gun Riot. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are on location at the Big Dipper Concert House with Gun Riot. And guys, how you doing?
Fantastic. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Zach, Caitlin, and Mike as we try to pass around one microphone. So a year ago, Sirens Call, and it's close to the end of November. So how would you sum up 2018 or just the last year in general?
It was fantastic. I mean, it was definitely a step forward with our music. I think we're all pretty happy when we put it out, but I think the way it's been received has been more than expected. Granted, a lot of that comes with just hard work and trying to get it out there. But, you know, if you would have told me in about 1 year's time we would have over 100,000 streams on songs, you know, and 250,000 streams on this and that, and, you know, it's just the numbers are kind of crazy. Didn't really expect them. So it's been nice.
Hey, Caitlin, you as the front woman of the band, how's your 2018 been?
I'm really sorry. I really hope that you caught that background noise because it was cracking me up. No, nobody heard it. Nobody is just laughing for no reason. 2018 has been amazing. You know, the reception we received from Sirens Call was great. We've been doing a lot of shows, and we're just ready to take that and keep moving forward. So it's been great.
And Mike, the drummer, the one behind it all, behind all the madness.
Yeah, I mean, like what Caitlin said about moving forward, yesterday we just released an acoustic version of Sword from Stone digitally. Probably the most well-received and popular song on Sirens Call. So it was kind of a no-brainer to follow it up and do an acoustic version, and we just dropped that. And it seems to be going over well so far. It's only been like 24 hours, but good start.
Yeah, Sword from Stone, I was talking to Zach when you guys released that, and it was one song that I said, I love Castaway, but there is something about this song. And Zach was like, I know. I don't know what it is. Like, Zach, for you, have you figured it out yet? Like, what it is about Sword from Stone that has been your guys' hit?
Honestly, no idea. I will say, though, musically and lyrically, for the most part, it was by far the easiest one. It just happened.
Really? Easiest one?
Oh,
wow.
Without question.
Everybody nods. So,
yeah.
Wow.
I hit up Caitlin one night, and I'm like, give me a direction to write about. Give me like a word or two, and I'm going to write something tonight. And this was on a Friday night, so she sent me something, and I sat down, started recording ideas, and I went in total opposite direction. And then the next day, I'm like, hey, you want to come over and lay down vocals? She's like, sure. So she came in, was listening to it, and I think she was humming the chorus line like the first, second time she heard the chorus. And then she's laid it down, and then we had the chorus. And we're like, oh, heck, okay, that was really easy. And then we took some...
Yeah. Now she's shaking her head.
Yeah, well, then we did some... So the verses took some tweaking. But yeah, I don't know what it is. I think it was just... It's a really easy song to digest. There's nothing crazy in it. There's harmonies, guitar harmonies. It's a lovely song. It's put together well, and it's just easy to digest.
The only thing that I haven't been able to digest is the lyrics. Like, you came up with those, or it was a collab with you and Caitlin?
Usually we'll spend, like, that song, we spend a lot of time in the same room just writing down ideas, melodies. So it was like kind of throwing just shit at a wall and seeing what stuck.
Do either of you have a meaning for it then? Caitlin, you got a meaning for Sword from Stone?
I did a little bit. I was kind of struggling through some stuff just in my life, and it was a song that when I heard it, I immediately kind of wanted to write almost like an anthem for myself. Like, okay, nobody's going to pick you up. Like, you have to do it yourself. Like, you have to put yourself in the right mindset and overcome what you need to overcome. And wherever you're at in your life, if it's not what you expected, or maybe you're where you want to be, but it's just not quite what you were thinking, you have to be the one that's like, no, I can do this. I can be my own hero. I can do what I need to do. And so I just really needed that for myself. So.
Hey, no, I'm not going to argue. Good stuff. I know Dave Grohl did an interview recently where he said that we know what our songs mean, but they're left for interpretation with a lot of others. Now, I know a few local singer-songwriters that have told me meaning behind their songs, and it changed my perception of them as far as, like, you know, some of it was like, wow, like you were going through that. But do you guys feel like you relate more if they understand the meaning, or that it's just better to leave it up to the fans' interpretation of what a song is about?
I like to leave it up to fan interpretation, absolutely. I think music speaks to everybody, and everybody can interpret it the way they need to in their life, and I think that that's really powerful.
How's the reception been over the last year? The music videos, the full year for the album release, doing the shows, and then, of course, let's get to it, the big announcement you guys had just last week about the management. Like, how did that all come about?
It's a mouthful of question. I mean, it kind of started out small, and like Zach said, you know, it was just as much hard work in promoting ourselves and getting ourselves out there as it was just being well-received music, and, you know, just trying to get us out on Spotify as much as possible, try and boost the YouTube thing. And then, you know, when we've noticed that the more you build in one like store, I guess you'd call it, you know, one outlet, it just kind of affects everything else. It just builds a little bit at a time. So, and then that got us to the management deal. You know, we just connected with them, and it was a good fit because there wasn't a lot of, it just made sense to do. You know, we're like, well, let's give this a shot. Let's see what happens. And that's kind of where we're still at. You know, it's like, let's just try it. You know, there's no negatives.
It was your handiwork, because I know previously in your guys' groups, you've been a lot of the behind-the-scenes sort of management type.
It's definitely a team effort with everybody. But, I mean, yeah, everybody has their strengths. So, yeah.
Mike's trying to be modest over there.
Well, you know, yeah. So, yeah, it was a big group effort for sure.
So, reaction to when you signed on the dotted line and everything got official with management. Your reaction, yours, Zach's.
Just hopeful, you know, and excited about the future, just to see what happens. That's kind of the point we're at. We're like, let's just try it, you know. Why not, you know? Just give it a shot.
Caitlin?
I think you said that beautifully. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can add to that.
He's not even a lyricist.
I think we're. I think we discovered another talent of yours in the band. I think we're just excited to see what can happen. That's kind of, I think, like Mike said, where we're at.
I just want to get on more of those Asian videos that we've been getting on a lot. We'll go through YouTube and we're like Nightcore videos that have like tens of thousands of views, and it's like Sword from Stone. It's just like anime video cartoons. It's pretty sweet. That's all I want more.
So when it comes to music videos, you guys have done a couple, and both of them been centered around the band, sort of the different aspects. You guys have been playing around with a few different sort of themes, I guess you would call them. But when it comes to the approach of, hey, we're going to do a music video, anybody still get nervous? Like, I got to rock, but I have to, like, rock harder because there's a camera on me now.
No, I think the first one, so our first music video ever was for Tonight, and that was like a live performance-based video, so I was kind of just editing it all together. Where the second one was Castaway, and that was more of, okay, stand there by yourself, we're all going to watch you mouth words or play your guitar not plugged in or whatever it might be, you know, which was fine. It was nice, a self-contained video. So then the second one, we all had a much better idea what we had to do to rock out. So I think if you go watch our actual performances from Castaway to Sword from Stone, you can see that we're all of us are just way better with performing in front of a camera, which is still weird, but yeah.
Caitlin, any jitters for you?
Well, the funny thing about Castaway was I asked Zach, hey, is there anything I need to do to prepare for this? And he's like, oh, no, just show up. You'll be fine. He didn't tell me that he was going to speed up the song. By how much did you speed it up?
No, we only did that for one part of the song.
No. I had to do the whole song several times where it's sped up. I felt like I was in a dance club and I had to rock out, but I just wanted to boogie down. So that was tricky, but no. And other than that, no nerves. But we've done it in a really closed off environment too. It's just these guys, and I've known them for over a long time now. So there was no nerves.
What's the next challenge for you guys as far as music videos go?
What was the question?
I was asking challenges for music videos, like the next one. Any ideas yet for it?
I don't know of any challenges. It's all been really easy. These guys are super easy to work with, so it's all just hey, let's go hang out and do this, and it's just fun. I don't know.
Any concepts that you guys want to try to tackle this time?
Yeah, it depends on the song. I'll hand that one off.
Yeah, it's what we're going to probably try to do this next batch of songs is, when you get an EP out, you're like, okay, let's do this, let's do that. Next thing you know, it's a year later, you're like, shit, we did 2 music videos, this and that. So I think our approach kind of going forward, the way people consume music now is putting out singles, kind of here's the song, and every song we put out have a whole campaign around it. Because there's for example, our song Puppets on our EP. I love that song, but it just doesn't get the natural pop that Sword and Castaway gets. So we kind of want to maybe have every song have its moment in the sun for sure. We always say that, but now maybe okay, we're going to put out a single, and we're going to do a music video with it, and we're going to do this, and that, and we're not even going to think about doing the next one until it's done with those things, and kind of be working behind the scenes on new music all the time, but have just one in the spotlight at all time. So every song has its own music video or some special element of it, so...
Is that something that you get as a gut feeling when you're writing songs? Well, this one's probably going to be a more me song, where this next one's going to be more for, it's probably going to get that pop. It's probably going to get that attention, the reaction that we want.
Yeah. Well, I think each song, when I'm kind of getting ideas down, I don't want to say I have a vibe which ones are going to turn out really well. Because there's songs that, one of my favorite songs that we have or we play is Rainbow, and that's buried on our full length, and we never play it live anymore. And I thought, this one's going to be awesome to play, but no one's going to like it. But you kind of just still do it because you do it, But I feel like the longer we go, especially this last EP, every song is okay, this one is going to be a good song. Okay, well, this one's going to be a good song. This one's going to be a good song. Everyone kind of felt like it was going to be a solid song. So I can't remember what your question was. I said, forgot what it was. Yeah, I just passed out. I blacked out for 10 minutes there and started talking.
It's okay. It was perfect. That was awesome. For the next album or the next EP, whatever you guys decide, quick side note, I was listening to the radio, bounced between 4 stations, 4 different Imagine Dragons songs are on at the same time. You talked about how you write a lot of songs, you want to give each one their spotlight, and when it comes to the writing process and how you guys approach one album to the next, do you guys have sort of all your chips in the middle on 3 songs out of 10, or do you guys believe that you can take your time to release each one off the album and give it its own?
Well, so what Zach was saying is we probably are going to wait to release another album or EP. What we're going to do is release singles.
Okay.
And then, Zach was saying, give that time that it needs. So our idea behind going into our next songwriting session will be to try to make each of those songs pop. We're just getting started writing again, so we'll see how that goes. It's kind of a new way to look at it. Before, we were always talking about releasing an EP, releasing an album. We're going to kind of probably, I don't know, I assume eventually we'll put it into an album once we have enough created, but we'll be still releasing, continually, always releasing new music. And that's kind of how we're going to go forward right now, see how it goes.
So last question for all you guys. How hard is it to capture lightning in a bottle twice? Because you said yourself how easy it was to write Sword from Stone, and it got such a reaction. But I know that there's a lot of hits off the different EPs and albums that you guys have had that have been really popular.
Yeah, well, I think that's hard to explain. I don't say sometimes when you're writing a song, you kind of just have to power through it. This idea is a good idea, you have to finish it. But there's some songs I think I'm just fans of. Tonight was another song that was just easy. It happened. It flowed. We worked on it. It was done. And to me, that's one of my favorite songs we have. Sword, worked on it. Easy, done. Castaway was a super easy one, too. I think just honestly, lighting in the bottle. I think if you start in a good headspace, like you wake up early on a Saturday morning, you feel refreshed, you got nothing to do, you're gonna go downstairs, grab a soda pop, and fire up the computer and start riffing stuff out. Like that to me is when I seem to kind of get my favorite moments recorded. Is when I'm in a good headspace when I start. If I'm just like, well, I gotta go work on music now, I gotta get ideas down, it usually is kind of like fart sound. It's just like, wow. It's just not that
binge
great.
Watch The Office first, and then you go into it.
Yeah, but when you're excited to do it, that's when I feel like you kind of get the best out of yourself, But it's very excites. But I have, for every 10 songs I'll start writing, we'll use maybe one of them for EGR or something like that. It's all rock songs, but like one of them will be like, okay, guys, check this one out, and slowly roll them out. And so, yeah, but there's one right now I'm thinking of that I really am excited to get done that we have that's like, we just got to get vocals and ideas like that down, but I feel like that one was kind of a lightning bottle. I sat downstairs, riffed out a couple ideas, like, oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, that's sweet. Oh, I'm going to do that there and do that there. And then I was like, done. I was like, sweet.
Hey,
yeah.
Caitlin. This is like the best background noise right now.
Same question.
Yeah.
I actually agree with Zach. I think it has a lot to do with the headspace you're in and how inspired you're feeling, and it's got to be something for me. When I listen to something, I usually like to feel something about that song, and that's what inspires me to write, and that's how Sword from Stone went. It just instantly, I heard it and I just knew, and that's not always the case. But I don't know, the song that Zach's talking about, I think it's the one that I'm thinking about, and I'm actually really excited to get going on that. I already have some ideas, and we'll just see. I mean, you never know until you start. So,
does knowing that you have to perform it change the process at all?
Knowing we have to perform it change the process?
For you, specifically.
No. I don't think so. I definitely think after we've done the song, if we haven't performed it live, some songs we perform live before we record, and that might actually change how I record it, but usually what'll happen is we'll record it, we'll finish it, and then when we start singing it, I do change a few things just vocally. And that's been on almost every song. I don't always follow what we've done. So it can, but when I'm writing a song, I don't necessarily think, oh, I'm going to do this live, I'm going to change it. It kind of just evolves naturally for me.
And Mike, songwriting process for you?
So, I mean, usually the way a process works is I'll get something from Zach. It'll be just riffs with scratch bass and scratch drums, or like guitar lines with vocals and scratch bass and scratch drums. And I mean, at least for me, like, they're the ones that inspire me to write my parts, because the way Zach likes to write is he likes to write with a drum track. So he's been playing in bands with drummers long enough. He knows how to write a halfway decent drum part in MIDI, and so he'll send it to me. It's like, okay, that's cool. And then I'll just take it and run with it from there. So, yeah, that's like the most exciting thing for me is like, oh, what's going to pop into my email inbox from Zach? Like, what kind of songs am I going to get? And that's exciting for me. So I just like to take what they do and just run with it and make it better from a drum perspective.
Songwriting process for you? He can't hear me. Oh, well. That's probably going to do it, since they're doing a full sound check now. But thank you guys very much for...
Yeah, thank you very much for having us. Appreciate it.
And good luck at the show tonight. Have a good performance out there.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, guys. All right, we are at the Big Dipper before Free For All, number, I believe, 4, sitting here with one of the sponsors. I talk about him on every show, Ethan of Dynamite Enterprises. He wants to customize your world. Says so on his Tinder profile. How you doing, man?
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. How you doing, man? Thanks for having me do this.
Yeah, it's like everybody knows about you by now because
The whole world.
The whole world, because I talk about you at Headlines when I do the Dynamite spot and talk about all the stuff that you can put logos and artwork on, if it's boxer briefs or stickers or cup holders. I mean, sky's the limit, because you've taken me on a tour in that place so many times, and we've seen all the different things that you're constantly coming out with, like new stuff. Like, is there stuff that you even were surprised that you could customize and put artwork on?
Yeah, so one, I want to say thanks for plugging my business all the time. So I do appreciate that, especially because it is a newer business. Like, I'm a sister company with another established company, so it's cool that I have all the knowledge and resources behind my back, but just having that gung-ho and starting it, so I appreciate that. But yeah, it's been interesting because not only all the stuff that we do in-house, but I'm in touch with thousands of different suppliers across the country, so if someone needs something very specific, I can go through them, because we obviously don't have every single piece of equipment under the sun to create. So for one in particular, I do a lot of work for like the marijuana farms or shops in town.
Gotta love Washington, right?
And I don't know the world that well, but I'm learning it now because of this. And so one time they're like, all right, we need like this mason jar with a silicone like koozie with a print, but it needs like a child protective top. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but thankfully I was able to get do the research, and we got it for him, and it was just a good example of like, okay, every day I might have something very specific that someone wants, so I'm always willing to do the research, whether I can get it or how much the minimum, because sometimes suppliers have like, you have to get 1,000 of this. I'm like, all right, how many do you need?
And you and I have talked about that, how, I'd love to see a sample of the work, with my work on it before I go and purchase, like 1,000 of them. But sometimes it doesn't work out that way. And you understand, because they're businesses and they're busy, they've got demands and that they got to supply. Now, Brunette Sportswear is the sister company.
Yeah.
And, they did a lot of sports apparel, jerseys, baseball, football, shirts, hats. So when you did Dynamite and you've taken on all that you've taken on, was there ever a time where, he was like, you're gonna put on what? Like, you're gonna try and make custom what?
No, not really where he like questions it, my partner Greg. It's just, I just have a different kind of clientele. They've been around for 40 years. I used to work there as the artist like 5 years ago, and so that's where I really learned a lot about the industry before. And then I've just been business-minded anyway and been more in the music scenes. But I focus more on, like, say, bands or small businesses that are looking for a little bit, like, higher-end product. Like, I'll do it all depending on what someone's budgets or needs are. But I prefer, instead of just getting those basic cardboard T-shirts, that someone's going to like, oh, thanks, and put it in their closet. Like, I go after that, and I sell those a lot more than like my sister company, who's been around so long that they're more like blue-collar construction and like schools and stuff. And so they're looking for more of the economy and like bulk. So
I tell you, one of the things, and I think I've mentioned this to you before, is how much people love the behind-the-scenes stuff, which obviously on your social media, your Facebook Live and everything, you've done a lot more of, and I think you can see the results, because people love to know how it works, because they think they know how it works, but they don't really know how it works. And one thing that I've talked about on the show that I mentioned that sold me with Dynamite, and you specifically, was the fact that, when I approached you about shirts, I said, here's my logo, what T-shirt options do you have for me that are like this one? Because I had like the first one that I did through an online site, and you're like, well, these are our 3 best, and I was like, which one is like the best? And I said, let's go with that, and you're like, all right, let's go pick the color. And I was like, what? We spent 15 minutes picking out the right shades of red, gold, and it was that kind of hands-on attention to detail that I was like, this is a smart investment for me. I know where my money is going, and I couldn't be more confident about it. For you, because clients can be difficult to work with.
Yes.
Customer's always right. But I know from getting tattoos, I've brought ideas to tattoo artists, and they'll be like, we can do that. It's not going to age very well. It's going to look a little crappy over a while. But what we can do is this. Like, you got to finesse it. How long did it take you to be, the king of spin, so that it sounds like they're getting what they want, what they ask, but that you had to talk them into kind of going a different route?
That's a good question. So that is a struggle all the time with customers, and it is helpful that not only do I run the business in the business side, but I'm also a graphic designer and artist. So because that, I know the entire process, and so instead of like a normal like salesman or like someone that's just running it, they would take as much of the information as they could from the client, and then they would push it on to the artist. Well, whatever they could have conveyed, like, oh, I think we can do that, and then after the fact, the artist is like, no, and now you've already got the person's the customer's hopes up. And so I try to educate people as much as possible. Like when you came into the shop or anybody else, I'm like, hey, can I give you a quick tour? Not only because I'm like maybe open their eyes of like, oh, they can do this too, I didn't know that, but they can actually see like, oh, this is how screen printing and embroidery works. Because they just think, oh, I just want this like full color thing on one t-shirt. It's like, well, let me explain to you why that's not as likely or cost effective. But I'm happy to like try to meet anyone's like wishes. Like I was just having a conversation with a customer on Friday, and I'm like, look, I'm happy to do whatever you want to do, and I'm gonna give you my professional advice here. Though it's gonna cost you X amount for us to do it because of the time, and I don't like color wise. Like people like, oh, I want a dark charcoal shirt with black print. Well, you're not gonna have contrast. You're not gonna see it, and so sometimes you have to make them feel like, well, I'll do whatever you want, but it's not the best idea. I'm a people pleaser, so it usually works well for me, but sometimes it's to the detriment of my soul. So
see, and I've learned, like, you're the expert in this. Like, you're the one that does it as a profession. So it's like, I trust your knowledge because chances are you've seen what I'm trying to do before and you know how it works best. And some people, that just doesn't communicate. Like, that doesn't get through the thick skull, and it's hard because you are customer service as much as you don't want to be, but you are serving the customer. But I think you do a hell of a job, and you're a drummer and one of the more pounding the pavement people of Nixon Rodeo, and I don't think you could come up with a better 1-2 punch than like having a band, you're sponsoring a show now, and then you've got all this merch at your fingertips that you could put your band's logo over.
So it's been great because being always a designer over the years of like being able to unveil a ton of merch, like Nixon Rodeo has always had more merch than even like the headliners that we will play with, like big bands, because I'm always trying to come up with new stuff. Well, now that I'm running this company, I got to decide this. I'm going to obviously getting better prices because it's my business, unless I wanted to charge the band and have the business make money, but I'm choosing not to do that. And so I'm like, I can either get everything that I would want for cheaper, or I can provide the highest quality, best items, and it would cost me about the same. And so that's kind of the route I'm going. I'm not making any better like profit margin for the band merch, but now like literally, like you were at the shop today, I should have like had you feel the new shirt. It's like the softest possible, like best shirts. And so now when people are gonna buy this and wear it, like they're gonna want to wear it all the time because it's their favorite shirt in their closet. Just like the shirts that we did for the fan show. Like, I have a ton of those and I wear them all the time because it's so soft. Like, I'd rather go to that than the hundreds of other, like, band tees I have in my closet.
Yeah, so. Some people will skip out on product quality just to get their name out there, even though it's like, if you spend just that extra $1 or two, you know, and it adds up. It does. But it's like, it's sort of a subliminal message to the consumer that it's like, this is our product and this is our brand, but this is like the quality and time that we're willing to invest in it. Have you ever had bands that you've opened for come up to you and be like, man, who does your shirts? And you're like, oh, let me tell you.
I have it actually years ago, before I was running the company, but I think I was probably working in the industry. We actually had a band that wasn't very pleased that how much merch we had. And they complained to the venue that like we needed to downsize, and thankfully I knew the manager. He was like, no, like too bad, so sad. You guys don't have enough stuff.
Nobody likes to be shown up. We had a similar issue when I was with Not For Now. We had LED lights in the back that would light up.
Oh yeah, I remember those. Those are awesome.
And we were playing the A Club doing direct support for Deuce from Hollywood Undead.
Yep.
and we were doing sound check, warming up, and people were starting to file in, and it looked great. And all of a sudden, down comes the axe. He didn't have any lights of his own, so we had to yank ours. And we were like, really? Like, how is that our problem? Like, show up prepared, you know?
Yeah.
Put a little more into your production value. Like, so I get it. I totally get it. And I was wondering if you were going to have a story like that, because bands are divas. We know this.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Especially
there's a little ego there, but I mean, it's their own damn fault if they're not prepared for the show. But do you ever have a hard time separating like Ethan the drummer from Ethan the businessman when you're out and about doing like right now? You're kind of doing both.
So that's something that I've talked to with my my partner as well, because my partner and I are like pretty different guys. For one, there's an age difference, and two, he's like more of a sports guy, blue collar guy. I'm covered in tattoos, have long hair. I look like I'm 12 years old. So it doesn't like I'll have people walk in to Dynamite and be like, who am I talking to? Because I look like a child and I look like a hooligan. So I try to wear sometimes things that cover my tattoos depending on who I'm talking to. But what I talk to him about, I'm like, I can either go for the straight business, you know, your traditional business, or I can just be myself and sell myself. And if people don't care for that or to do business with me, that's fine. They can go somewhere else. But I think doing that genuine, just like no matter what, whether it's business or the band or just normal life, like this is me. I can be like crass, can use bad language, but I'm like always going to like be very honest and upfront with them, and then they know what they're getting from the get-go, and they're not just like, oh, this guy's blowing smoke up my ass. Because if they were to find me on social media, they'd be like this guy's totally different than what he's doing business-wise, and I'd rather like sell that idea of like, hey, I'm just a normal guy that's wanting to like support small business, support anything else that's around me, because that's the same thing I've been doing for years of being in bands and whatnot. And so,
see, I think it makes you more personable, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know? But I will say that it's funny you mentioned the whole tattoos thing. Like, it's 2018.
Yeah.
You know, if people can't get over that people have tattoos by now, it's like there's no hope for the future. And
well, I
businesses.
deal with some churches and other things sometimes, so I'm just like, oh, I'll put that on right now.
I graduated with a guy who went into youth ministry, and he's got a full sleeve. So it's just like, even in that world, like,
totally.
You got to get over it at some point. So what's next for you? I mean, does the money that you get from Dynamite go into the band, or you just like you see this as your career, your future? Like, what does the world of Ethan look like?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting now, like to see like this is what I want to do now. I see me running Dynamite, you know, for the foreseeable future. Like this is going to be my career choice, and I love it because one, I'm my own boss, which is nice, and having the freedom, like I'm going to take this in any direction I want to do. So it's really exciting. And band wise, we're still playing shows, still doing the same thing, but we're all realistic. We have normal jobs, and so it's nice because I've always been like the 110% into the band and passionate. Well, I'm a better manager than I am a drummer. And so, like, I love business. And so the fact that now I'm running my own business, it's just like I'm so passionate about that.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy to be doing that, even though this first year's been extremely stressful, especially when it was like me as the only official like employee at Dynamite. Like I was working 70, 75 hours a week, and you know, with the other responsibilities of the band and whatnot. But I'm getting like a better hold of it, and so I'm really looking forward to next year. Like any of the money that we've raised this year, like we haven't even used any kind of advertising budget except for stuff like this, where we've been trying to help out the community and use it and looking at, all right, this is the end of the year. What can we do now to try to get out to more than just word of mouth? Because I've been lucky enough to all the people I know that business has done well, but now let's get out to a wider audience. So
it's an addiction, running a business, building a brand, seeing your handiwork out and about. So I get it. I empathize with it. It's not an easy thing. What you've done, I think, is very special, and I look forward to seeing what else you do, and I love working with you. So I'm going to let the show get going because it sounds like they're about there.
Cool, I'm excited.
Hey, man, enjoy being a sponsor of a show and have a good time tonight. I appreciate you stopping by.
I've been supported by way too many people over all the years of music, so I'm happy to do that as well.
All right, man. Have a good night.
All right, thanks, man.
All right, one more time, big thank you to the guys of Elephant Gun Riot and Ethan from Nixon Rodeo and Dynamite Enterprises. Maybe now you guys have a little bit more confidence in my word when I say that this is the place to go to get custom anything. Ethan wants to customize your world, and he will do it. And it's been one of the best business relationships and friendships that I've had. So very happy about that. But best of luck to the guys in Elephant Gun Riot at their show. It is Free For All Volume 4 happening now at the Big Dipper. By the time this uploads, the doors will have been open. The first band may have gone on, so you'll still have plenty of time to get there. But if you miss it, make sure that you go and like Elephant Gun Riot and Nixon Rodeo on Facebook, follow them on Twitter, and make sure that you are in the know for the next time that they are performing either here in Spokane or maybe when they're coming to a city near you. So for the Fan Show Music Division, I'm Richard Tiemann. That's going to do it. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your weekend. Have a great night.